Hey everybody, welcome back to Nurse Love Addiction. Last time we learned more about the lab that burned down. Itsuki decided to give us some more information about that. We found out that the facility or the lab tested children with special powers. So now we know about healing hands and kind of the relevance that has to the story, but now is still a big question mark. The only thing we really learned about her is that she was apparently adopted as well. Kyoko and Now also had a little bit of a brawl, I think, in the hallway. And I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm about 99% sure it was Kyoko. And here we are. Misitsuki and I leave the karaoke building. The sun is setting.
まだ夕方か。なんかすげえ時間経ってる気がしたけど。100年分くらいの出来事聞かされた気がする。消化不良気味か。帰ったら胃薬でも飲みな。あんたも癒しの手持ってるんだったら使ってくれよ。やだよ。
Misitsuki laughs at me mischievously. I'm suddenly reminded of something. Healing hands, the healing power to relieve sickness or pain.
ねえ、いつきさん。ちょっと聞きたいんだけど、癒しの手って。
Like whether they can heal a stab wound? Yeah, there we go.
お腹をずっぷり刺されて死んじゃうような、そんなひどい傷にも効くのかな。それって要は致命傷を治せるのかってことか。うん、そうなるかな。例えばいつきさんなら。
But before I finish my sentence with, could you do it? Misitsuki scoffs.
無理だよ、到底。施設じゃ昨夜が一番力が強かったけど、でも無理。そこまで万能な力じゃない。
So I'm starting to think more and more that Now's the one who healed us.
そっか、そうだよね。もしそんな死すらひっくり返せるくらいの力があるんだとしたら。
Misitsuki continues in a tone of voice which is hard to decipher as serious or joking.
そいつは神様みたいな力の持ち主ね。
Yep, that is exactly what that foreshadowing was for. Back when when Now walked in on us when we were trying to look at the USB memory stick, you know, and even Now had that whole like question of, well, or not question, but that whole sentiment of, I am no god. But then there's that dwelling Asuka has on the word God and powers, and here we go. I am now 100% sure Now's the one who healed us. It's all leading to it. And Now might be the equivalent of a god, or at least have powers of a god. Possibly. See? I'm not so bad at this whole guessing thing, am I? After this, a few days pass uneventfully.
補習、疲れたい。何を言っているの？あの程度で。
Misaki and I are on our way home from a supplementary class. Well, even though we both attended the supplementary class, for me it was totally because of some bad test results, while Misaki was attending voluntarily in order to make up for classes she had to miss. That's quite a difference. Let's not think about that. Don't think about that.
なかなか落ち着かないの？実家の方。そうね。
Oh, I'm sorry, Saki. Yeah, that makes me sad. Even now, Miss Saki is still visiting home a lot, even though already half a year has passed since her mother passed away. Though I can't even imagine the circumstances of a wealthy family like hers.
昨夜さんも武田家の本当の子供じゃない。
At least, if Misitsuki's telling the truth, she isn't. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Having heard from Miss Itsuki that we grew up in the same facility and that there was mutual love between us, I wonder if that's why she kissed me that time.
その辺全然聞けてないんだよな。
The fact that Miss Saki is acting as if nothing happened is also a major factor, though.
アスカ？あ、ごめん。ちょっとぼーっとしてた。居眠りするなら寮に着いてからになさい。
Miss Sakia laughs as she says this.
咲夜さんに聞きたいこといっぱいある。
But I can't take that step. This kind of carefree conversation feels so nice. I may be scared that I might destroy that. Even though I know that everything might be a lie.
いつきさんとはどうなの？最近。
Oh, good question, Asuka.
どうとは？
Uh-oh, maybe not.
あ、だからまだ寮に戻ってないみたいだけど、学校じゃよく話してるし。ええ、そうね。雪解けは近いんじゃないかしら。へえ、そうなんだ。寮に戻ってこないのは口うるさい私から逃げてるだけよ。ありそう。
I laugh.
そっちこそナオとはうまくやっている？
Why do you ask, Sakia? Do you know something?
前が異常にベタベタしていただけという気もするけれど、距離ができてるように見えるわ。
So it's that noticeable, huh?
ああ、
I guess it's also visible to the outside world. I suppose that can't be helped.
少しは独り立ちできるようになったということかしらね。いやー、そうかもかも。
I laugh ambiguously.
ねえ、いろんなことが分かんなくなってるんだ、私。
Seriously, I think Asuka might be having more of an existential crisis on this route than she did on the Sakia route. At least the Sakia route, you had clear answers that came into view pretty quickly. With this, it's like, oh my god, I'm not an Osachi, my sister's not really my sister, I don't even know if I know my sister, which means I don't even really know if I know myself. Ugh. So much existential dread. About my past, about Miss Sakia, so many things have happened that have made it all so confusing. But the one thing in the middle of it all,
ナオちゃん。
my dear little sister.
ただいまー。
As I enter the room saying this, now shows her face from the kitchen.
おかえり、お姉ちゃん。キッチン？もう夜ご飯作ってるんだ。まだ早いんじゃない？下ごしらえ？今夜はシチューサにしようと思って。
Now goes back into the kitchen as she speaks.
シチューいいね。
I place my bag on my desk and peek inside the kitchen. Now is busy cutting vegetables. She's humming a melody. Now doing household stuff like this, that's the now I'm used to. My eye is caught by something on the kitchen counter.
あ、薬のボトル。そのお薬よく飲んでるんだ。え？ああ、これ？うん、そうだね。でも1日1回くらいだよ。
Don't drink from it, alright? She said it was a nutritional supplement for low energy.
本当に？
While I am distracted by the medicine bottle, I hear Now let out a little groan.
なおちゃん？
As I look at Now, she puts the knife down on the counter and holds onto one of her fingers. The tip of her finger is covered in blood.
あ、指切ったの？うん、ちょっと手元狂っちゃった。失敗。救急箱持ってくるね。これくらい舐めとくだけで平気だよ。
now puts her fingertip in between her lips.
でも平気平気それにね
Now talks to me with her bloody fingertip between her lips, with a slight, kind of entranced smile on her face.
なお痛いの
Oh
嫌い
boy.
じゃないんだ
Well, that's kind of a masochistic thing to say, don't you think now?
誰
Yeah. It's there again. It's that feeling again, that the now in front of me isn't the now I know. This suspicion of who she really is. It's Misitsuki's fault. No, that's not true.
そうじゃなくて
Please, the signs have been there before Itsuki said anything too revealing. It's been raining the whole evening. Well, it is the rainy season after all. We're doing our homework together before dinner. There's a dull ache in the back of my head. The usual one. It's not like I can't choose to ignore it, but still.
お薬飲もうかな
What is this kind of choice? Oh, jeez. I feel like this is a decision I don't like. It's a decision I don't have any idea of what the possible consequences for either one could be. What, am I supposed to drink it to take the medicine? Am I supposed to, take the medicine? Then what happens? Or I don't take the medicine, and then what happens? As far as I can tell, the only possible outcomes is, do I continue to have a headache or do I not have a headache anymore? I mean, is this going to be like the cake decision on the sake route and it doesn't really matter? Or is this actually got real consequences to it? And I just don't see any logic behind doing either. I guess we'll take the medicine. Honestly, that seems like the sensible thing to do. Hopefully I didn't screw myself over. I decide to take it.
お姉ちゃん頭痛お薬飲むよじゃあなお持ってくるよお水ありがとう
Now stands up and goes into the kitchen. It's as if she's totally forgotten about her magic charm, her healing forehead touch. It makes me feel a bit sad. I drink the medicine. For some reason, maybe due to my constitution, whenever I take a headache medicine, even non-drowsy formula, I get really sleepy anyway. Or maybe I'm just the type of person that simply gets sleepy at every possible opportunity. Yes, that may be it. So, as expected, do we just pass out? Yep. Classic Asuka. I don't remember her passing out nearly as much on the Sakya route, if at all. After taking the medicine and returning to my homework, I readily fall asleep. I'm having a dream again.
なあお前名前なんて言うんだない
It was a short dream, and it was pitch black. There was just this voice. And even that was vague.
ちゃん起きてシチューできたよ
I wake up at the sound of Nao's voice. She finished preparing dinner while I was asleep, as expected. Tonight's menu is white stew. Nao's stew is always amazing, so it's one of my favorite dishes.
しっかり煮込まれてていいお味
Stew is so great in the rainy season. I want that right now.
そうよかった
I can hear the sound of the rain outside.
突然ですがクイズです今日のシチューに入ってるお肉なんでしょうか本当に突然鶏肉はい正解では第2問 部位はどこでしょう？
Now smiles at me cheerfully as she goes on asking me questions.
お勉強定食。
Right? Clearly, this is now just trying to work on your discipline or something. Well, we are nursing students after all.
唐揚げやシチューには鶏ももって言うよね。だから鶏もも肉。
Though I don't understand the connection between the chicken and, a human body, but whatever logic works for you.
はい、正解。さすがお姉ちゃん。
Now continues on to the next question, but
甘いよなおちゃん。流れは読んだ。次の問題はこの部位を人体に当てはめるとどこになるか。そしてその答えは当然太もも。残念だったねなおちゃん。この勝負私の勝ちだよ。
I feel like now is a lot more clever than that.
第3問。鶏もも肉の病気予防効果とは？
That sounds more like the now we know. I was way off.
お姉ちゃん、ちゃんと習ったでしょ？栄養学の授業で先々週やったとこだよ。だってもうちゃんと授業聞いてた？美味しそうだなーって思いながら。すいませんした。
I put my head down in embarrassment. Now puts on a slightly troubled smile.
ね、鶏のもも肉というか鶏の脂肪には血中コレステロールを抑える不飽和脂肪酸が多く含まれるので血栓予防に役立つの。あとはね、コラーゲンやビタミン B2 が豊富だからお肌にもとっても良くて。なんと、じゃあこれを食べればお肌プルプル女子力アップ？
I'm staring at the stew and the pieces of chicken inside it.
まあ一食食べたくらいじゃ効果出ないだろうけど。ならたくさん食べればいいかも。でもももは脂肪が一番多い部位だからカロリーも一番高いんだけどね。太るのはダメだ。お姉ちゃんすぐお肉ついちゃうもんね。
Now chuckles. Having these kinds of conversations like we usually have, we're like our usual selves. It makes me think that nothing's going to change, but
ねえ、なおちゃん。
about halfway through the meal, I put down my spoon.
あのさ、覚えてる？何？あら、中学2年の私が入院した時のこと。
When Now used to be a bad girl, that time when she was called out by that group of punks. I went out in her steed and got beaten up really badly, which put me in the hospital for a while. It was the moment that brought forth the sisterly connection we now have.
覚えてるよ。それが
Now used to be like a little doll around that time, and her eyes had been overflowing with tears. Now took care of my every need while I was in the hospital. Now, you're really my miracle drug. Though I didn't really know what it meant, I said this many times throughout those days.
ね。
I'm debating inside whether I should ask her or not. Hearing about my past from Miss Itsuki, hearing about my memory loss, a number of questions have been on my mind. Because the time before I was 8 years old isn't the only period of my life I can't remember.
入院中のことがどうしたの？
Now his eyes are fixed on me. I can't tell from her eyes whether she's trying to read into what I'm thinking or not. I can't tell whether she's trying to see through me or not. It's mysterious, the way she's looking at me.
なおちゃん、リンゴ剥いてくれたりしたよね。最初は苦戦してたけど、すぐ上手になって。それまで自分で剥いたりしたことなかったもん。私は今でもないけどね。 威張っていうことかな。簡単だよ。ちょっとコツつかんだら、ナイフじゃなくてリンゴを持った手の方を動かしていくといいの。なるほど。あ、まあそれはいいんだけどさ。私入院中になんかたまに変な夢見てた気がするんだよね。思い出せないんだけど。なおちゃんに話したりしてなかった？変な夢？うん、そう。うまく説明できないんだけど。どうだったかな。なおもよく覚えてないけど。そっか。それから。何？退院する前の日の夜のこと。なおちゃん病室に泊まってて一緒に寝たよね。
Like in cuddly pajamas, right?
なおは付き添い用の簡易ベッド借りてね。
Ah, exactly.
あ、そうだったっけ。その夜のことってさ、なおちゃん覚えてる？
I don't have any memories from it.
どうしてそんなこと聞くの？いやーなんか大事な話をした気がするんだけど全然覚えてなくて。すっぽり抜け落ちてるみたいでさ、私何話したんだっけなーってちょっとね気になっちゃって。
It's completely gone. The time I was in the hospital was a precious memory for both of us. So I remember almost everything about it, but in a very strange way, you could say in an unnatural way, I don't have any memories at all from that night before I left the hospital. I'd never made a big deal about it. I just thought I was the kind of person who had a bad memory. But now, after finding out so many things, I can't help but feel that it has some significance.
なおちゃんなら知ってるんじゃないかって。
Yeah, I think she absolutely knows about it. You should just be direct. We should just be direct and ask her. Just beating around the bush is annoying. Now shifts her gaze towards the curtains.
雨の音がするね。
Oh no. Maybe now's on to us because listen, you're pulling that same crap Itsuki used to pull on us with the deflecting and the distracting. Asuka, stay focused. Her eyes seem to be looking somewhere far away, and there's nostalgia in her voice. I tilt my head towards the sound of the rain.
うん、梅雨だもん。入院したのも梅雨だったよね。よく雨降ってて。うん、そうだった。夏休み前までだっけ。そう、ほとんど毎日降ってて、なおいつも傘さして病院行ってたな。そうだったそうだった。
I remember what now looked like as she came to visit me at the hospital every day.
お姉ちゃんずっと病室だったからね。退院する頃には梅雨も終わりかけてて。なおちゃん毎回ってほどじゃないけどよく違う傘持ってきてたよね。
Oh
おしゃれ
no.
さんだなーって思ってたよ。
She successfully distracted us. Asuka, get back to the topic at hand. The urgent topic at hand.
あれは
For some reason, there's an expression of embarrassment on Nao's face.
傘よくなくしてたからあんまり自分の身の回りのことは注意してなくて。おお、うっかりさん。そうだったんだ。
I can't help but laugh a little.
あれ？でもなおちゃん傘いっぱい持ってない？寮には1個だけみたいだけど家にはいろんな種類の置いてあった気が。うん、コレクター。 でもその頃目覚めたんだよ。なくすたびに新しいの買っていろんな傘があるの気づいて。お気に入りのやつもよくなくしてたけど、傘ってなんか好きなんだ。傘好きっすか。
Oh, it's a weird thing to be fond of now. What does that mean? I mutter this, thinking to myself how I don't get it at all.
お姉ちゃん、言葉遣い。
No! How did you think we said it now? Yeah, that's... Now, please, get your head out of the gutter. That's not what we meant.
だって傘ってすごいよ。ないとずぶ濡れになっちゃうんだもん。まあそうですね。雨だけじゃなくて強い日差しから守ってくれたりもするし、傘の下は小さな一つの世界。傘はそれを守ってくれるの。いいものだよ。おお、傘哲学。お姉ちゃんは傘の立派さを分かってません。
No, we clearly don't.
そんなことないよ。
Hearing now talk about it like that, last year's rainy season comes to mind when we were in our first year. The time when my folding umbrella blew away and Miss Sakia invited me to walk under hers. The small world under an umbrella. Yes, I feel like I understand.
あれ
I tilt my head.
あれ、なんで傘の話になってるんだっけ？
Right? We totally got off topic of what we wanted to actually talk about, Asuka. Come on.
ああ、ごめん。なおが雨のこと言っちゃったからだよね。入院してた最後の夜のことでしょ？あ、そうだった。
Now might have been trying to dodge my questions. Or I guess not. She's the one who brought the conversation back on point after all.
じゃあ何のために傘の話をしたのか。なおは覚えてるよ。うん、よく覚えてる。そうなんだ。お姉ちゃん、どうしても知りたいの？
Yes, we do. Now looks at me with that mysterious gaze, asking me like that if I want to know no matter what. I'm not sure about it anymore. Though I guess it makes sense that Asuka would feel a little cautious about accepting information, considering everything she's been given to this point. But it's a reality that this part of my memory is missing. It's just so puzzling, and I have no idea whatsoever what the meaning is behind it.
どうしてもってわけじゃないけど、なんでどうしてもなんて言うんだろう。
What puzzles me the most is the way Now emphasized it so much. How she seems to be trying to test me.
ねえ、お姉ちゃん。
Now's tone suddenly changes, and there's now a kind of mischievous shine in her eyes.
なおとデートしよう。
Oh, why don't you stop dodging the question or the point we were talking about with this whole date thing? Really? It's not the time to be talking about this.
はい？デート？
I mean, that is classic distraction technique. It's like when Sakia kissed us on the roof and then we got stabbed. That was brilliant. Game was like, hey, girl just kissed you. And I just happened to be on the Sakia route, so it was even doubly surprising for me when, then I got stabbed. And I was like, whoa, was not ready for that. Here we are, same thing. It's like we're gonna get this important piece of information, and then now it's like, dodge, serpentine, let's go on a date. Well, of course, now we're distracted.
デートしよう。
I mean, I'm down, but I still want an answer. A date, doesn't that just mean going out somewhere together? But we do that all the time.
お買い物ってこと？ 違うよ。デート。デートはデートだよ。デートしよう。
Using the word 4 times in a single breath now piles on the pressure.
アグレッシブ。
As she notices that I'm not quite following along,
ダメかな。
her expression turns sad. Well, I feel like this one's obvious.
セーブしました。
I feel like this decision is obvious, but I'm also really concerned that it's kind of like a trick question. Because of course I want to say sure, of course, because we're on the now route, so why wouldn't we want to go on a date? And we know we're not really sisters. Now it's weird because now assumes we still, well, I don't know if now what now assumes anymore. But I would still assume that now thinks we think we're related, but still. Anyways, I'm gonna leave this video off on that, and I will come back with my decision on the next one. So I'll talk to y'all then.